Hello, everybody, and welcome to Higher Plane Games. My name is Simon. I'm still very ill, so apologies for my croaky throats and that I will have to mute the microphone when I start going into a coughing fit. But I'm so overdue showing this game. I had a couple of people actually send me a question basically saying, I've seen Aven Colony, quite like the look of it. What do you think? And I'm not really known for these types of games to be talking about them. But I was very interested in it too, and when I saw that it was cheap, I picked it up. From my usual purveyors of stuff, actually, base.com. Hashtag not sponsored. But what I'm going to do is I've kind of finished the first mission, but I want to show... It's one of those games where you need to kind of see everything in motion all together to then explain how things work. The game has a really good way of being able to tutorialise how things work as you go along. But... excuse me, I want to be able to show you like a colony mid-motion, if that makes sense. So, as soon as this starts off, I'm going to pause it and then I'm going to try and explain things by walking you round the menus. So this isn't going to be the most sexiest playthrough of anything whatsoever, but hopefully it will make sense. So, welcome to our colony. It looks rather fabulous, I think. We are on the district of Vanar, I think it was, which is a bountiful region that is full of plants and wildlife. The air is not toxic, and you start off basically in the middle here with just these things here, which are solar panel generators for energy, and then like a little holding place for some food and so on and so forth. And then from there you need to build out your colony by being able to manage the air system that you've got. Oxygen is a very big thing here, and you do that by building tunnels everywhere. And you can see I've got little people running around in there. They're my friends. There's my police person, I believe. And then you need to grow out greenhouses or farms for different crops so that you can feed yourself, water to be purified so that you can drink, and so on and so forth. And a lot of that is down in this menu down on the bottom here, which I'll kind of walk through. So in Aven Colony, a soul is a day, essentially, but they last longer, and you have seasons throughout them. So in the first half of this, and when I unpause it, we'll see the fall side of stuff. Not the fall side, the winter side of stuff. Any crops that you grow or anything like that, it's all wonderful because it grows on the earth and you can harvest all of that. But as soon as it comes to winter, it's all about what you've harvested in the spring, summer and fall so that you can survive winter. Essentially, excuse me. And the food that I've got here is in the next thing. It tells you kind of what you're running at a rate of win or lose. Now I've changed some of my crops out to try and feed some trading units and some pharmaceuticals, which is why I'm running at a loss. But ideally you don't want that to be minus 20, but we've got such a massive food supply at the moment, it doesn't really matter. But you can see kind of what's edible, what's not edible, so on and so forth. Same with water in storage, and that's all fine. The storage itself of the goods that you've got, do you want to, or are you able to store everything that's in there? Your air quality, and whether or not the industry that you provide is polluting your air, or if you've got enough extractors. Just if you live in, some of the later missions imply that you're going to live in a toxic environment that requires an awful lot of stuff. Oh, there's an alien about to have its lunch with us, I think. So you've got that there. General population happiness. So I've got 286 people in my colony. No one's died. What's the unemployment like? Our jobs field, so on and so forth. Nanites, which is essentially your building currency, because everything is 3D printed, is what they're trying to get away with here, and to say that. Your electricity, which to be fair has been the biggest bane of my life. So what you have in summer then is different to what you have in winter if you've relied on solar panels, and all resources are finite. So if I dive over to here, which is a Zorium mine, if you can see on here, it's got 8,394 people. Sorry, 94 Zorium that is available to go. But once you've mined that, that resource is gone, and you then need to look elsewhere for what you're going to then mine, essentially, to continue getting more energy. And you'll kind of do that as you spread out. So like here, sorry, is another Zorium deposit. So what I'd need to make sure that I do is that, because this actually is quite a big piece of my resource, is that I need to make sure that by the time that is over and done with, I've already expanded my colony out to here, so that that's mineable and can then get stuff back. So it's very important to make sure that you've got that kind of covered down there. And then the last one, electricity, is your power supply for batteries. So what you can do, and you can see here I've got some, where is it gone? There it is. I've got a lightning tower, and you can see its range, because when it gets to winter, then the weather be bad. That can basically harvest electricity and put it into the batteries that I've got over here. Oh no, not that one. Or there. There we go. Energy battery. I knew what I was doing. So that if you have a power cut problem, or if you run out of solar panels and you need to kind of rely on battery energy, then you've got that stored there. So there's plenty of kind of stuff to do to make sure that you can run as a colony before you can actually like look good, if that makes sense. One of the other really good things that I like about this game specifically is, if I just zoom out, sorry, for the colony that I've got so far, and this took a couple of hours for me to get to this level of colony, is the overlay menus. So you can kind of see on different overlays, where's my crime? So beforehand there used to be crime all the way around my storage depots, because that's what people wanted to go for stuff. I've now got enough police in there that that's not an issue. You can look at where electricity is being supplied or needed to be supplied, resources of where you need to dig or field new stuff, housing overlay, where are people residentially, but then you can look at the commute and see exactly where people that live, where can they get to for work, and do they like that. So if I apply that, this bit here has a commute penalty for happiness, so people that work on this air filter can't get to the work properly, and that's probably because when I remove that overlay, I've not built a tunnel directly to it. So the tunnels, which is where all your airflow goes, becomes like a really critical thing for you that you need to make sure that it's thrown everywhere. Same with air quality. You can see what helps air quality, what doesn't. So where I've got my air intake there, it's 100%, and I've purposely put it next to some of the industrial stuff to try and get rid of some of the air quality problems that you have. Normally when air quality gets below 70%, then someone starts to complain and get humpy over it. You can see the further out you get from air intakes and more into industrial stuff, the worse an air quality gets. And then water overlay, where do you go to produce water? So some bits are darker blue because it can produce more water at that location, so it kind of informs where you want to dig for water. What was the other thing I was going to show? Here we go, employment overlay. So this is where you can kind of create jobs, see exactly where jobs are going to be created, but then where do you want to put your habitats or your skyscrapers, so that you can place them near the jobs so that their commute is less, so that the people are happy, but also they're more likely to be employed by stuff in the surrounding areas. So let me get rid of that overlay so that I can show you a little bit more of the actual game itself. Aside from that, you also have colony controls. So for each colony or level that you get, You can decide what is a consumable item and what isn't. So I had a point where I was trading in melons early on in the game. And because everyone kept eating the melons before I could trade them out, I decided to make melons not a consumable good, so no one could eat the melons. And then I turned my greenhouse into a melon greenhouse, so that they were allowed to grow on their own way. And that was kind of handy to try and rig the trade deals that way. You can also look at your electoral stuff to see whether or not people are happy or not. We've got a fairly steady run of immigration, which is why 62% of housing is filled, because I've kind of built out for that. I've already won one referendum, which was how you win this specific level, the opening level. You also have different policies that unlock depending on how long you've been in power for. So I've automatically set up drones auto repair for facilities, but it does cost you your nanites, which is your currency for building stuff. But if you find that like you've not been able to get enough electricity running because you're struggling to mine stuff in the future, then you can turn on power monitoring so that people have to watch how much electricity that they use, and it makes them less happy, but it means that you can run more efficiently in the future. If you're having problems with like what was I going to say? Crime. Then you can start putting on immigration bans, or if you're overcrowded and you can't keep up with food and water supplies, then that's worthwhile. But you can also drill down to the actual colonist itself, which I find really, really fascinating, so that you can see exactly what every single person in your colony likes or doesn't like. And you can zoom into...
Prime was cooler than I expected. I'm really glad I'm not still stuck up in orbit.
And you can sit and play with all your CCTV so that you can actually
Governor.
go in.
I just wanted you to know I'm really enjoying this colony.
I'm glad you are, my love.
Hello, Governor.
I thought that said Dora Shag. Whoopsie.
Hi, Governor. Pleased to meet you.
But you'll start to find people with common trends and problems as stuff goes along. Now, after a while, I'm so sorry for my cough, other species start to come into the foray. And you can see there's one there. So I'm going to unpause the game. And I've got these drones that basically this alien is like, it's like mold. So it doesn't necessarily attack people, it attacks buildings so that it can decay them. So I've set up these specific people to come along, and they're called scrubber drones. And each thing is level upable. And I've put them that side because these things come in from the river. So the more we grow that way, the more of a problem we're going to have, because they're going to struggle to kill them before they land, essentially. So I've unpaused the game so that we can kind of see a soul in action. We also have these different missions that pop up in the bottom right hand side. So my next one is to reach a population of 300. I'm on 286, so that shouldn't take too long. And you receive nanites to build more things, porridge for trade. I've already claimed victory, but I'm going to continue playing for the time being because I won my thingy-bob. And now that I've built a mill, I can do Entari bread, which is where you start taking things that you can't eat directly and build stuff. I think that's my mill there, isn't it? Yeah. So we don't have any flour, so we need to get a trade deal, I think. So we're currently importing pasta and exporting that But I'd quite like to see... It's annoying. So there's no flour available at the moment. As you can see, it's getting dark. That means that we're hitting winter. But what I might need to do is look at going to... Yeah, I've got no way of making flour at the moment. Oh well, never mind. I don't think we'll be doing any Antari bread anytime soon. So whilst the mill is going to be like completely pointless, I've put it as a low priority resource, which means that workers won't go there because there's nothing to do, and I've built everything else to have much more of a higher priority. So this research centre excuse me, if I excuse me, I'm so sorry. Let's ask them to research a chocolate butter. Then that will kind of keep going that way. If you've got an issue, then Triangle will help you with that. So the trade hub is empty because there's nothing that it can do. So I think what we'll do is we'll trade nanites for service robots. Now service robots are commodities that you can then sell in your retail park. And our retail park currently has nothing to sell because I'm not manufacturing any goods to sell to keep people happy. So that could be worthwhile doing. So
Stellaris and city's skylines rolled into one. Grinning face. It's spacey. I like.
oh, hey Josh. Yeah, I'm having a really good time with this. One of my mates sent me a photo of it and was like, what does this actually do, this game? Can you tell me? I was like, I've just bought that. I'll let you know. So that's what this is. So as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, we've now hit winter. So you can see everything's gone dark. The screen has frosted up. What this will mean is that farms will no longer produce food, which is what all of these are. And the only food that we do have will come from the greenhouses, which are the ones down here that we've got. Which is currently storing rice. Barley? Barley. Okay. So, whilst that plays with that, let's get building. So, as with everything in this game, you need tunnels. But you need to be able to build tunnels that are within your drone's radius. So as I build, there you go. Can you see the little drones have come out to play? I'm purposely running this on one mission.
I think you're on track to win this referendum, but here's the feedback I've compiled from your citizens.
Thank you, girl. So it looks like everyone loves having Governor Smithy. Too much crime. The colony doesn't have enough tunnels to help you get around. So that's where the people were bitching about the commute. Remember we saw the commute overlay earlier. And there's no place to buy what we need because the retail shop is over in a corner, but it's also stacked with nothing. Which is a slight issue. So that gets us out past that rock, which we can't build on. So what should we build? So, as you can see, building requires nanites, and it can tell you exactly what that nanite is all about. Bear with me. Oh, lightning tower hit, that's okay. And we picked up 9 immigrants from our little vessel, so only 5 away from the 300 that we need. So, we have a hospital, we have an enhancer dispensary already, which is basically a pharmaceutical place to get us some drugs to keep people happy. We don't have a VR centre though, so I feel like this is a thing that we need. But as you can see when you're moving stuff around, excuse me again, the things going in is basically where people will go and be employed from. So you need to take that into account when you're moving stuff around. So as you can see, when I'm putting it here, only certain workers will actually bother to go there. But if I move it into the middle, look at where people will go to, and also where that service will then provide a boost to. And that's why positioning for things is really, really key. Because otherwise you're going to end up being like, welp. And if I like stick it here, it's not connected to the colony, so no one will be able to get to it. If I stick it here, people will have to go through that building to get to the VR centre, so it's not connected properly. And because of the way how this map is, that's a massive mountain, so I can't stick it there. I could try and stick it here. It looks like it could help a little bit, maybe. Because I can't really stick it many other places where it makes sense. Because that's, again, too far out. And until I develop that corner, that's going to be a problem. So, let's stick it there. Another lightning tower hit, but our batteries are good. So we've got plenty of drones to come and help. There we go, we've got a VR centre. So it's powered on, it uses 26% of our electricity. So now notice that we're using 915 of our 986, which is how much electricity we've got when we are in winter as opposed to summer. Remember, we had more because that's when the solar panels work at full rate. If we give it high priority, everyone comes to work at the VR centre. Oh well, let's do that. I think entertainment is worthwhile. Smithy knows what's best. Trade vessel has arrived, imported 50 service robots, exported some nanites. So, is that the trade vessel? No, it's immigration. So, there we go. We've got service robots now available to sell. People will be much happier because there's now things to sell. Which is good, and that will keep people happier. But as I say, this is after a few hours of getting a colony up to this level. So when you start at the very beginning, you'll have just a couple. You'll have like a building with about 10 people in, and that's about it. So objective completed. Reached 300. Got some porridge. Yay. And then new missions completely come in steadily.
We'd like you to expand your colony's population.
So very simple. Next one's get to 400 if we can. Okay. What else would you like to research? Quite a lot of Xeno Sage. So let's research Bliss. Now, which is the farm that's got... Does that one eat as corn? Right, we wanted Corey spores, didn't we? Bliss. Oh, Corey beans. Sorry, my fault. Oh, we don't even have that as an option. Oh well, we'll make some Corey spores. Especially whilst we've got so much food in abundance. So that's all good.
This is the sort of game I like, but don't have the patience to do myself grinning face.
Hey, right. Let's pop another little structure there. Turbine there.
Yeah, I can't get into Stellaris properly for the same reason. It's so slow. It's so close.
Let's... So I'm not going to build more houses just yet. And I guess this is my only slight concern with the game actually, is I feel like I've hit my limit, and I get that excuse me, in other places it would like it makes sense to keep on expanding and trying to go for more and more things, but at some point I'm gonna not become a cropper, but I can only you can only build with the same amount of buildings a certain way. So this is really good for missions that kind of take 2 or 3 hours at a time, and then after that you're kind of like, I'm done now. I think will be the minor issue that I will have probably with this game. Okay, so we're going a little bit solar power mad. And what I'm going to do is just speed up things. Oh, what have we got?
Congratulations on your referendum victory, boss.
This unlocked a new social policy. Yay! Everyone just loves me. And there we go, winter's over, so then we get back into having full-on power again. The day continues on. We've still got enough water. We've now got a VR centre, so people will be happier. Still got plenty of Zorium to keep our electric going. The Earth History Centre was the big thing that you had to get once you'd won a referendum to win this level. So yeah, I just thought it'd be interesting to show you kind of how this game works, what's good about it, where I think some of the issues in it lie. But in general, I rather like. Now, can we... I can make a lot of melons. Stick it there. There we go. So that those melons will help. I'm also going to use our potash, which is a mineral that we've been getting to increase our yield, which I've been mining somewhere else. So there's a nice little kind of run around that you can do with that as well. So yeah, this is Aven Colony, available on PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Enjoyable, simple. That's what it says on the tin.
Hey there.
Hello. Sure hope they're friendly.
Cool. Right. Well, thank you very much, people, for watching. I hope that was of vague interest. And take care, and I shall see you in another video on Hyperloon Games. Bye for now. Apologies that I'm still ill. Doodles.